Systems integration has long been recognized as one of the major challenges related to Open RAN planning and deployment. So how is this being addressed by the operators keen to add Open RAN-based systems to their mobile networks? Well, to find out, I'm talking today with Paco Pignatelli, Head of Open RAN at Vodafone, which is already deploying open multi-vendor RAN systems in its production network. So Paco, thanks very much for joining us today. So with the experience you already have from tests, trials and deployments, how is Vodafone approaching Open RAN systems integration?
That's a very good question, Ray. We have been working on our learning process from the beginning, and it all started with the idea that Vodafone will take most of the system integration ourselves. But to be honest, in the initial phase of the deployment, we've been reliant on our current set of suppliers in the UK, primarily helped by Samsung. During this time, we've been learning on how to take the process ourselves. We've been defining the different procedures. We've been hiring people. We've been also scouting the market and understanding the different approaches and making our own trial and error to find the best way. Our idea is to go into our next phase before we get into a mass scale deployment. So after summer, most likely, we will be launching a process to get some support for us in order to be able to scale on all the different activities. But for the most part, it's a Vodafone-led responsibility. We are taking care of the product integration, the product deployment, and then the operation as well. Where in all cases, you need certainly need a company playing that role. Someone is to play the coordination role that has been performed by traditional suppliers in the past. We're doing it primarily thanks to network of collaboration. If you take, for example, the product integration phase, it's not that our labs are replicating what a traditional supplier had in the past. We are working together with our suppliers, and we are managing the release delivery as if it was a very big project or program that, again, Vodafone retains accountability of. And but it's a network. It's everybody benefiting from everybody else. And now that we are in the latest phase, before implementing our blueprint, we are also supporting other companies on their own system integration or product integration journey. So we are offering services, if you wish, to those companies, and it's coming together.
Okay, excellent. Well, it sounds like quite a big sort of learning experience you've gone through. So what would you see have been the main challenges and also the positive learning experiences from what Vodafone's gone through so far?
Well, some of the problems came from the fact that we have no technology solutions that we required. For example, imagine a certain market that you need a specific massive MIMO implementation and it's not there. So you need to sort that out. It's a technology problem, not specific to Open RAN itself. Then, in some cases, we had some problem with some suppliers as well. Some of them are new, and we had to go to Plan B in some cases. And also the cost at the beginning. You are not supposed to pay for an integration in the long run, but in the short term, we had to do it in some cases. We also made some mistakes in the approach for system integration, because initially we wanted to go for a model that would serve all the industry, going big, trying to boil the ocean probably, and we then have to go a little bit more limited scale and do it on a Vodafone set of suppliers. So now, more recently, our own focus has been more in working with our set of configurations, our own suppliers, then getting that right. And then when that is available is when you are able to share with the wider community. So moving in short from a top-down approach to a more like a bottom-up, where you show the value, you deliver something, and then you offer to the rest of the community. And now probably most of the challenges are in the automation phase, where we're still working to get the right maturity. Radio works. We are getting good results in our deployment in the UK, but the automation is still in early days. So now we are facing that, and interesting journey, but nothing that time cannot fix, to be honest.
Okay, excellent. And interesting that you've switched from one approach to another, and I'm sure that's something that will help other operators as well. Now, you're obviously sharing your experiences here with the rest of the ecosystem, but what can be done by the industry in general, the broader ecosystem, to improve these systems integration processes? And can the development of blueprints really help operators?
I think so. One of the key points is the role that some industry body needs to play, or an alliance, in the certification and the tip in order to help getting the right products to the market, ensuring that we have the right interoperability. I think it's important that we get to the right maturity in those coordinations, because I was saying before, we in Vodafone, we are becoming like experts, if you wish, in our own set of suppliers and the configurations, but who works with other suppliers, who coordinates that there is an end-to-end, that a small operator that has not the chance to work on Open RAN the way we do the big ones can take advantage of. So I think TIP should help us get in there. And obviously there is another point, a broader point on the overall maturity. There will be a moment when interoperability, it's a given. And you can have one radio with the baseband from another supplier, like if it was a plug and play, like an USB, for example. One of the important points that blueprints can help is and this is something we have learned while working on system integration, is there are some aspects of Open RAN that today make it more lengthy process to do the integration. There are some aspects of the specifications that are left open, that are not mandatory. Then you need to put together software from the digital unit and the radio, and sometimes it's difficult because those different considerations, whether certain point is mandatory or not, or if it's implemented or not. There are also requirements from the operators themselves that make it a need, the dialogue between the different parties. So we can get more standardized in the approach. We can get more organized in the approach to communicate between the different actors, and also to simplify. So if you have less options, then it becomes easier. So in that way, if we have blueprints that clarify and support what needs to be discussed and agreed, and that is shared, that it will all be easier. Obviously, other aspects like testing, if you are able to have standardized testing and it's very clear what needs to be done in order to have a proper integration, then it's also beneficial, I would say.
Yeah, so obviously, as you mentioned, greater experience and time will really help in these processes. And I guess that's why sharing of experiences is so important at this part of the process. So what would Vodafone's main message be to the sector about Open RAN systems integration? What would you like to say to the industry that you would like to see happen next, or that can help with all of these matters?
Well, one point would be on overall cost. I think it's clear that when you have to put together all the things that you had disaggregated before, there is a cost that you need to take into account. So you could say, okay, that's going to be very complex. That's going to be bigger cost than your savings. What we can say from our experience is that it's true that it's a new activity, but the overall total cost of ownerships remain positive, and we have plans to make it even better in the future. So we are confident that the system integration problem, even though it's something that we also, we need to improve and we need to get to the right level of maturity, it's a problem that has a solution, and it will be off the table very soon. I think the industry needs to work on that in the next 12 months. But we have a plan, and we have visibility that it will be sorted. So I will say that to my colleagues, and I will also call them for action. If you want to do Open RAN, if you want to get into the journey, don't hesitate to approach the big operators, the ones who are having already the experience. Some of my colleagues, like for example Docomo, they are being very public about this, and there are others as well. I think it's all about networks collaboration. It's about sharing and not repeating. And but the good news is that it's all happening, so we have a plan.
Okay, excellent. Yes, and that industry collaboration is going to be really important to achieve scale across this what is still an emerging part of the industry. Well, great insights there, Paco. Thanks very much for speaking with us today, and good luck with the rest of the journey at Vodafone. Thanks very much.
Thank you for having me.